Hello everyone, my name is Lily and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the books that I'm wanting to read before the year ends. I have a list of books on my TBR that I had put on there at the beginning of this year, or I guess at the end of last year, that I really wanted to get to this year. And I've gotten through a lot of them, but a lot of them I kind of have put off because either other books have been released and I've kind of wanted to read those more than the ones that were already on my TBR, or I'm a mood reader and I just haven't been in the mood to read them for whatever reason. But the first one that I wanted to kind of jump into was Quicksilver. So I just started this because I just got a Kindle and I am, I believe, like 30% of the way through. I'm enjoying it. I think I've mentioned this in like all of my last few videos, but I've been really stuck on Alchemized and I've been having a really difficult time moving on from it. And although Quicksilver isn't scratching that itch at all, like not even close, I think it was fine for me to, I guess, jump into that afterwards. But it's fine. It's fine. And so Quicksilver is definitely one that I think I will finish before the end of the year, so I'm not super worried about that one. I'm not worried about getting to the rest of the series. I think it's out. I'm not 100% sure. I've heard that the second one had come out already, but I'm not super in the know on Quicksilver news or the lore, so let me know if I'm wrong about that. The next book, or I guess the next books that I wanted to get to, Crowns of Nyaxia series. I read what is it, The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent last year. I think it was like November or December of last year that I had gotten the first book, and I really loved the series because I had just finished reading ACOTAR and I needed something similarly good that was gonna scratch the itch for me, the ACOTAR itch that I just couldn't figure out how to get off me. And so I picked up Serpent and the Wings of Night shortly after finishing ACOTAR. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good book, and then for whatever reason I just put off the rest of the series. I know that I had gotten The Serpent and the Wings of Night from my library and they didn't have the rest of the series, and I had told myself like, oh, I'll buy the second book at some point, just not right now, and then I just never bought it. But I realized recently that Kindle has all of the books on here, like all, I think there are 5 in the series or 4 in the series. And so I think I definitely want to get through the second one, which is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is book 2, and I do have it here in front of me. This is book 2 right here, and I have it in my library. I haven't started it yet just because I'm getting through Quicksilver first. But I'm really excited because I know that The Serpent and the Wings of Night ended on a cliffhanger, and I do remember the book. I remember what it was about, so I'm definitely excited to jump into this. I think, like I said, I think I'm just gonna finish this one, maybe the third one, depending on how quickly I get through the second one and how big the second one is. I'm not sure how many pages it is, but I am excited to jump back into the Crowns of Nyaxia world. Next book, besides the Crowns of Nyaxia series and Quicksilver book / series that I'm trying to finish, I also have heard a lot about One Dark Window by Rachel Gilling. Again, I have a bad tendency of not knowing what books are about before I jump into them, so I don't know what this book is about. I really like the cover though. I've heard it's really good. That's all I really know about it. So it is on my list to finish in the next 2 months. So we'll see how I do with One Dark Window. Everything depends, I think, on whether or not I get through the Crowns of Nyaxia series and how I feel about prioritizing getting through that series or getting through at least one or two of them and then just moving on to another, either standalone or a different series. Another book that I'm really wanting to get through is Twisted Games. So this is the second one of Twisted Love, I think is the first one. I haven't read the first one in almost a year. I think I did the same thing that I did with the Serpent and the Wings of Night series, which is where I think I pulled the book from my library and they didn't have the rest of the series, so I couldn't finish it, and then I told myself that I would buy the rest of the series or find another library near me that had them, and I don't think I ever did that. So the rest of the series has just been on my TBR for the past year basically. And I haven't started this. It is in my library already. I mean, the first book, which I think is called Twisted Love, the first book is fine. I don't think that the storyline is anything special. I don't think the writing is anything special either. I think the book is just entertaining, and that's why I read the first one and I enjoyed it enough to where I wanted to read the second one. So I probably will finish this next book this year, by the end of this year. Hopefully we'll check back in at the start of the year and see what books are still on my TBR then in January, and hopefully Twisted Games, at least this one, isn't on here. If the rest of the series is on here, that's fine, but hopefully I'll at least read Twisted Games. If we're counting standalone books, I believe that's 3 on my TBR, but if we're counting series, that's probably like 8 or 10 or however many are in the Crowns of Nyaxia, however many are in Quicksilver, and however many are in the Twisted Love series. I don't know. I think it's like 4 or 3, 5. I don't know. I really don't know. It's hard to keep track of all these books sometimes, especially if you're like me and you don't have an actual TBR list anywhere. They're just books that you know of, that you know you want to read at some point, but then you don't really keep track of it. I'm really bad about that, honestly, and that's probably why I don't get through as many books as I do in a year. But we're not going to talk about that today. That's okay. And then my next book that I think will probably be the last on the list, just because if I really get hooked on a series again, either the Crowns of Nyaxia, the Quicksilver, or the Twisted Love series, then I want to give myself the opportunity to finish it or get through as much of it as I can before the end of the year. So this last one is probably going to be a backup to where I still have some time left over after reading the other ones. But I mean, I technically am currently reading this. I'm just taking it really slow, just because it is like based in 1589. So the language in it is, it's not difficult to read, but it's not easy to read like any of these other books that I've been talking about. It's definitely more sort of like the Old Englishy references. It sort of like reimagines like crossover between like witchcraft and like 16th century Scotland and sort of the experience of living through that time period. This is probably going to be like a book that I leave towards the end of the year if I have even time. Regardless, it's definitely still on my TBR, and obviously I have a physical book. I love the cover. I think it's gorgeous. The gold is just really, really pretty. I love these kinds of like, I don't know if it's holographic, but it just looks really, really cool in the light. Those are all the books that I'm hoping to get through before January 1st. We'll see how well I do. I have family coming in actually this week. I have them coming in for Thanksgiving, and I don't think I have family coming in for Christmas, but I still do have things going on for Christmas, so a lot of those things will take up time, and that will mean that I have less time to read. So we'll see how far along I get. I'm not holding myself super high to all of these, but I would like to get through at least a couple for sure. That way I can kind of shorten my TBR for next year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I will check back in January and I'll set my TBR for the year, and we'll see if any of these are included then, and I can shit talk myself then. But for now, these are my books that I want to read before the end of the year. Let me know what books you guys are eager or wanting to read before the end of the year, especially because I know there are some new releases for next year that I'm looking forward to. If any of y'all are looking forward to any new releases for next year, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!